Rob Grimes with the IFBTA. And today I'm really very pleased to have as our conversation guest and meet our member, the newest in the series here, the president of Adentro, formerly known as ZenReach, Nathaniel Brugadier. So welcome.
Rob, really appreciate it. Happy to be here.
You're collecting the data, but at the end of the day, it has to be actionable data that the person's able to use. So you have to put that into a language or into a format that they can quickly see. Yep. And potentially even take action on an immediate basis when the person's in the store?
Yeah, so we actually, what happened, Rob, is our software goes live in a store. Now, oftentimes, that restaurant or venue turns around to us and says, holy cow, I have all this data on my consumers, but I have no idea how to action it. I don't know what to do with it. Now, Adentro, a couple years ago, built somewhat of a media platform where now we work with our partners to run media on their behalf that we can measure online media to on-premise results. So a great example of that is Pete's Coffee, right? Where we can run a Facebook ad on behalf of Pete's Coffee and measure that Rob was exposed to that Facebook ad and he took his device and walked into Pete's Coffee.
And that's a separate offering that somebody would get from you. It's an add-on.
That's right.
Right.
So we have one part of this.
Right. The core is the collection of the data and being connected to the network. But the opportunity. So if you're really, so now I understand why you scale here, because if you're really big, you may just need to have that provider gives you the data. And by the way, you want the rest of the network. You want the geo stuff that's around you, the Bolero, across the street. But if you're smaller, you have the ability to actually work with you as almost like their marketing agency, at least on the online marketing side.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it, right? And again, SMB, we have some clients spending $5,000 a month on media with us. We have some clients spending $500,000 a month on media with us. And the reason being is we're giving these physical marketers the same tools and transparency as their e-commerce peers. And we had a really interesting conversation where a CMO of a 2,000 unit retailer said to us, my CEO doesn't believe any of our digital marketing results in on-premise foot traffic and sales. Can you guys, and my eyes lit up because that's exactly what we solve for, right? So that's where, again, we turn all this data into marketing fuel, and then we can measure it transparently back to those brands.
So before we move on to some other things, I just think we should make it clear what industry segments or what various segments are you actually in? Because we heard hotel, you mentioned retail, but you also mentioned shopping mall. Are there specific verticals that you guys are specialists in? I go to a lot of trade shows, so I could see at the NRF show, or I could see at NACS or the NRA, or where are you at?
No. I mean, look, it's when you think about a physical brick and mortar, it really could be anything, right? So we talked about restaurants. We talked about hotels, hospitality. I'm sure you've seen Madison Square Gardens building that Sphere in Las Vegas. Our software will be live in that when that opens up, which is an amphitheater right on the Strip. So at retail, like Veronica Beard and shopping malls. I mean, again, what we want to do, right, is understand all the identities and their other offline behavior, so we can really work with all of these brick and mortars and help them pull out the LTV to CAC on their high-end customers and help drive more of them inside, right? That's what we're trying to help. That's our mission statement, is trying to, again, empower these brick and mortars and then turn their marketing into high ROI for their teams.
Right. But you know what? There's a lot of generalists out there. There's a lot of generalists in marketing, and there's certainly a lot of generalists in digital out there. yet you've chose, I'll call them the service industries, because I do think obviously the people are walking from a mall to a restaurant. There's a restaurant in a mall. You're mentioning entertainment centers or stadiums and arenas,
Sure.
so I get it. I love the idea, by the way, that you're able to ping so that even when they're within the venue, you're able to see where they are, which would be great in a stadium arena or the new thing
Sure.
up in Las Vegas, or a food court for that matter. So I get that. But with all these players out there, so if I asked you, what are your differentiation points of what you want people to remember as they're looking at the generalists and everything else, or they get an IT person that comes from outside the industry who brings it in and says, this is easy to do, right? So what are those points of differentiation that you really believe make you different from either competitors or other offerings?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think the most important part is that network. Some of our peers have built Wi-Fi marketing capabilities as a silo. So you might get a captive portal and you can market to the members that sign up through that captive portal, right? Now we have the entire network. As it grows, everybody in the network starts to benefit. And I think that's really key, is that we built it as a network so that we can tell Tommy Tacos, who has a high proclivity for Mexican food or whatever, or QSR, and really build off those affinities. The other differentiator is that multi-vertical. So for Tommy Tacos, where else are your consumers shopping? Where else are they going? Where are they spending time? And so the multi-vertical nature and the network effect of the business are really the two biggest differentiators of Adentro.
Yeah, I mean, I think that having a little bit broader focus than just one industry segment or something actually gets you the power of it. And by the way, I would point out that as companies start having multi-brands and multi-concepts, including, by the way, some of their virtual brands that are out there that may not be within QSR, they might be whatever it is, that it starts to give you an advantage over people who only focus on one or the other. Now, food service operators are making a lot of investments in other technologies. They have their own loyalty programs. They have their own gift cards. They have their own point of sale that tracks. So in one way, you are their connection to the outside world. I get that. And the outside coming in, okay, with a certain amount of data, but you're not just standalone there. So how do you work with somebody's own systems and applications that they're using that are also collecting data points or are being used for marketing or loyalty or whatever it might be?
Yeah, I mean, so on the loyalty side, we have great partners like Paytronics and Thanks, Punch, where we have API endpoints where we can auto create profiles right into their loyalty buckets, send smart push notifications based on where they are in the restaurant or outside the restaurant, right? It's lunchtime. So we have those API endpoints where we play really nice with loyalty platforms. We also have partnerships with Toast and Brinks and the point of sale players, where not only can we say that, hey, Pete's Coffee, Rob came into your store on Tuesday and was in the store for 23 minutes, but now we can say Rob was in the store Tuesday, 23 minutes. He bought a blueberry muffin and a skim latte. So now we can
especially if we can tie it to the timing, right?
Exactly. And pull out the receipt data. So that's where, again, foot traffic is exciting, but it's also about pulling out the receipt data. And now you have, as far as return on ad spend, hey, it cost me $5 to bring Rob in. He spent $20 at the store. That's a 4-to-1 return on ad spend. I mean, it doesn't get any more transparent than that. And that's what becomes really actionable and exciting.
I want to thank Nathaniel Brogadier, the president of Adentro, formerly ZenReach, and a industry supporter member of the IFBTA, for joining us today. But thank you so much for the support and what you're doing in the industry and bringing a fresh perspective to our members.